By the way, Joe, there were ants in your Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
There were?
Yes.
No!
Yeah, get fucked.
Hello and welcome to Fools in Fiction. We are the Fools, and this week the fiction is not the fantastic show we watched the pilot of yesterday called Hazbin Hotel that maybe we'll talk about sometime.
Mayhaps.
It is the Sonic movie that we saw on Valentine's Day.
Oh my god.
Last Friday.
First of all, I want to give some context for why this is crazy. Firstly, watching the Sonic movie is already like one level of crazy. Mm-hmm. Watching it on Valentine's Day adds another like level that you could just feel in the air.
Yeah.
The third level for me was that I have just recently gotten my glasses that help correct my color blindness. So the first piece of media that I ever saw in true color was the Sonic movie, and I wasn't ready for it.
For me, the third level was that I accidentally ate pork before seeing Sonic.
I forgot you did that!
Yeah, I went into the dining hall and I saw a thing, and I'm like, meat looks, or fake meat looks so much like meat nowadays. Is this vegetarian? I see the sign says, yes, this is vegetarian. And I ask the man, is this vegetarian? And he says, well, there's eggs in the fried rice. Is that okay? And I say, yes. And then I eat some. I'm like, that's 100% pork. And then I look at the sign, and it's like, this is pork. So my stomach was a little upset. And then I went to go see Sonic.
I also wandered Barnes & Noble's a bit before you got there, which was fun. I got to buy the new... Well, I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me. The Ruby Combat game.
Oh, yeah. We got it sitting right there underneath the...
cookies.
The cookies.
So, anyways, I went to the Sonic movie, and, like... I would say of our friend group, I'm, like, the snootiest when it comes to movies. Not, like, in a dickish way, but in that, like, if I'm going to a movie, I'm going to be like, okay, like, how's the plot? Like, is the lighting good? For the most part. But, like, I walked into Sonic and I'm like, this movie's going to be a fucking dumpster fire. I'm just going to go in and hopefully be entertained.
Yeah, that was, I think, a similar headspace I was in.
Yeah, and it was great. It was way better than Hold on. I do have to talk about the previews.
What happened in the previews?
There was the Scooby trailer,
yes, which
looked way better than I thought it was going to.
I don't know.
It looked better. I don't know if it looks good.
Okay.
What was the other one that... Oh, you were really excited for the SpongeBob movie.
Yes, I am.
And then, what was the monster one?
The monster one?
Yeah, do you not remember this? The WWE, but they're kaijus.
Oh!
How did you forget this already?
Yeah, no, that looks good too.
It was really bad.
No!
But, what?
So I think a theme throughout this episode is going to be vast disagreements about the qualities of things. Like, Joe and I disagree about the ones in the previews, and Joe and I versus the rest of the world on the actual quality of the Sonic movie itself.
Because not everyone liked the Sonic movie.
No, it got pretty bad reviews.
I don't think it was, like, meant for critical reviewing, though.
It brings up a really interesting question of... If you get this is the stupidest way I could possibly phrase this. Mm-hmm. But what's the why would you give such a good movie a bad review?
Well, there's hold on. Do we want to go to Rotten Tomatoes and see what the critical review of it is?
Yeah, I got it. I don't want your computer to
freeze.
Yeah.
Also,
here it is.
We recovered some of the lost audio. So
from the aforementioned 45 minutes before.
It's only 4 minutes of audio too. It's great.
But sampling in those 45 minutes.
Oh yeah. It's not contiguous.
No. All right. I pulled it up.
Okay.
It's got a 64% tomato meter and a 94% audience score. The critics' consensus is fittingly fleet and frequently fun. Sonic the Hedgehog is video game-inspired adventure the whole family can enjoy, a defined excuse for Jim Carrey to tap into the manic energy that launched his career.
Big agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect. Why did they review it so badly? And so I'm looking at the reviews, right? Uh-huh. And most of it is there's two things. Uh-huh. One of which I kind of agree with.
All right, what
the
is
other
that one?
which I think is wrong.
Okay.
The one I agree with is that the writing isn't always fantastic. Like,
No.
in terms of characterization, which is something that my friend Tim, who knows a lot more about Sonic, pointed out, like, that the characters really don't totally feel like they're established characters in Sonic. But for me, that wasn't a problem because I don't know those characters. But also, like, the human characters just weren't fantastic.
What are you talking about? Robotnik was...
Robotnik doesn't...
Robotnik doesn't count as human?
Yeah, no.
Okay, understandable. I'll allow it.
But the second big thing, and this is what I think is really interesting, is and this seems like the larger complaint, is everyone said this is such a familiar story.
What?
Having a like an alien character, spoilers for the Sonic movie, come to Earth and then have to like
avoid capture
from the government, and then get back and they make friends with humans.
I mean, like, on the one hand, sure, that is a like pretty used thing, but I think it puts enough of a like its own flair on it. And also, like, if you want to get into it, like, all of storytelling is the same, like, stories. Like,
the point.
Like, my all-time favorite movie, La La Land, is just about a couple that keeps trying to make it work, and their lives get in the way.
Yeah, my central thesis is there is nothing wrong with using a good, like, conventional story and just like having a really good fun execution of it.
How do you think the Hallmark Channel makes all of its Christmas movies?
Right. That doesn't mean that like those things are bad at all. I wouldn't, if I were a reviewer, I would say this is very conventional, but that's just like a thing about it. That's not a quality judgment.
Yeah. So like I think there's also a big difference. So between that and like it has a lot more similar story beats to something else, and this isn't for Sonic, but like The Force Awakens, a really common criticism of it is that it takes
which one is that?
It's the first of the new trilogy.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it takes a lot of story beats from A New Hope, which it's like desert planet, Force user, Millennium Falcon, Chewie and the gang is there. There's a Death Star, And I think on the one hand, when I walked out of that movie, I went, that movie felt a lot like A New Hope. But I think a lot of bad faith criticisms were created with that as the core of it. But also, like, they're jump-starting a new thing. They have to go with something that worked. And also,
and
like...
it seems like that could be similar for Sonic.
Yeah, because, like... Sonic is almost never about... avoiding the humans in like at least the comics. It's always about like, look at all my furry friends, let's go beat up Eggman. It's never about like, geez, I'm on the terrorist watch list like for destroying the power grid. Still, it's using a familiar story to us humans. Yeah, that's fair. Or us humans. That whatever. I did not say that correctly. Like, it's using a similar story beat that we know. Yeah, that's true. Story thing. I think that maybe the problem the critics are having was they were hoping it was going to be a lot more, and it felt like there was a missed opportunity. Like the opportunity cost kind of argument of it. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, this like didn't tap into all the cool Sonic tropes it could. Instead, it tapped into like E.T. tropes. But like, so. People that disliked this but hailed Detective Pikachu as a triumph are kind of missing the point then, because Detective Pikachu didn't use that many Pokemon tropes that it could have. Like, sure, there were Pokemon in it, but a lot of the tropes were just like, you know, standard Sherlock Holmes mystery tropes with like a smattering of the Pokemon background. And sure, there's like a couple of things in there, but like Pokemon in and of itself, a big trope is like, what makes us different from Pokemon? And that maps easily onto what makes us different from aliens or robots or whatever. Yeah. That's the whole a big theme in sci-fi. Yeah, so like speculative fiction. So I think saying this has some story beats something else has is like not a good criticism. Like, if I'm shitposting, I'll be like, Zoom is just a watered-down version of the X-Men, which is, to an extent, true. But, like, if I wanted to level a real criticism at it, I wouldn't be like, this has a mentor figure that is teaching kids who are going through a change similar to puberty because of the change in like fucking come on. So I like sure did the Sonic movie lack a lot of Sonic things? Yeah, but like Marvel movies, especially at the very beginning, were like, look at this familiar face. Now let's just do like a standard action movie or whatever. Like Captain America, the first one is just like a war movie, but Captain America is there. And I would guess that many people like Captain America. So
I think that I would imagine that the argument people would make against us is, or not against us,
against those of us
the
that
Sonic
like...
movie. No, against our viewpoint.
Okay,
is that like you can't review things in a vacuum, and there is a lot of missed opportunity that happened with the Sonic movie that like someone like my friend Tim was hoping that they would tap into that they just didn't, so therefore the Sonic movie is worse than it could have been. But I would also argue like another element in that not vacuum is the kinds of things we need like in the current political climate in movies and in media in general, and like having just like this kind of just like fun adventurous like
well even at that point like
is good.
So to go back to the MCU, like more modern MCU stuff really got into characters that weren't super mainstream popular. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy, when they announced the movie was coming out for that, I was like, oh, fucking sick. And then everyone's like, who are these people? And I'm like, there's a lot to unpack here. But like now they're some of the most well-liked characters in the MCU. And so I think the Sonic extended universe needed to show that it could be a viable thing before it put in more like Sonic tropes. Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. And I think as hopefully there are more movies that come out of this, hopefully that will help the criticism.
Yeah. Like I think even DC
or address the criticism.
for like as bad as Suicide Squad was able to be like, all right, we've proved that people will see stuff. Let's take out new characters. And then they did Birds of Prey, which I've heard good things about. Hold on. Ugh. Pardon me. But like the Birds of Prey, well, Harley Quinn is known, but like the rest of the Birds of Prey, no one knows who those are.
Are they the characters from Birds of Prey, the TV show?
Is there a Birds of Prey TV show that is DC related?
I watched, yeah.
Yes, it is.
I've seen this.
Shockingly. When did this come out?
We watched this in Skiffy.
When?
And on an unofficial one, I think.
Oh, okay.
It was really good. 2002.
Oh, okay. So it was
like very Buffy vibes.
Yeah, so like Birds of Prey has let me think about how many characters in the Birds of Prey I can think of. Lady Blackhawk, Canary, I think Katana's in it for a stint. Is Lady Shiva in it?
I don't know. I only saw like 3 episodes.
Fair enough. But like my point is that like there's a lot of stuff in it, and they're all pretty, like even I, big DC fan, cannot immediately go boom, 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 boom down the line. So I think that eventually we're going to have Charmy the Bee show up in our Sonic movies. We just couldn't have that happen now.
A big point that my friend Tim made when I talked to him on the phone after seeing this movie, because he also saw it at the same time, coincidentally, across the world, was that he thinks it's very accessible and can be used as like a gateway drug into the Sonic world for people, and for that he thinks it's like that adds to the quality of the movie, and he thinks it is good for that.
All right. Now I want to talk about just how good that movie was.
I want to talk about the humor.
Okay.
So a lot of people didn't like the humor. There is no logical explanation for that. They're wrong. It was so good.
I think that the humor was very childlike, and so if you had the brain on when entering that movie, I don't know if you really would have been fine with it. But I walked into that movie completely brain off, and I was like, yeah. There's also Eggman is so surreal.
Oh, he is so good. There was a moment when he was like, he had like hooked up a probe to either side of a like Sonic, like a quill from Sonic.
Yeah.
That he had to, like hooking up a voltmeter or something. And
And
just
then
like
he's
while
just
I was
fucking jamming.
taking readings, he just like jams the hardest jam I've ever seen in that moment. In like all earnesty, I'm like, I want to be Dr. Robotnik when I grow up.
He
Like that is the scientist I must become.
So he also like he has the like cocky I know everything attitude, but he doesn't like push it. He like he just keeps abusing it and becoming even more like you would think he's unlikable. But
You would think, like, when I saw the trailer for Sonic, I'm like, oh my god, I hate this man.
Yeah, and then you were like, I was wrong.
Yeah.
He has
is
an
me.
intern, and he's just like, slam yourself against the wall, so the intern just like puts his back on the wall and puts his own arm up to his throat. And I'm
It's
like,
just so ridiculous.
what a
It's
fucking
so
great...
good.
Also, so we have a pact that there are two things that we can't talk about to people that haven't, like, that we can't spoil. Eggman does one of them.
It's just a single word Eggman says is so shocking.
So I was just sitting in the theater and I almost phased through my chair. I slammed so hard back into it.
I have never, like, screamed in a movie theater before that moment.
It was so crazy. I can't believe he did it.
It was like the entire movie was worth it for this one Robotnik line.
That was worth the price of admission.
It was
by
just
itself.
like, in that moment, I knew Aristotle or whoever said that good content has to be relatable after the fact and not rely on spectacle was wrong.
Yeah.
Because in that moment, I like just ascended. It was so good.
There was also the crazy guy in the town ship shows something to the camera. And it just fucking removed my sanity. I can't believe they put it in there. I also think
good.
that movie has probably the funniest form of sponsored content or whatever. Because so they name drop Zillow and Amazon once. Because they're looking for an apartment on Zillow, and they're like, we're looking for an apartment on Zillow. And so this whole time, whenever I see sponsored content, I'm whispering over to Finn, like, this movie brought to you by X. And then he's like, I think Robotnik shoots out his drones, and then Sonic's like, wow, I can't believe Amazon's using these to deliver packages. And I'm like, okay, so there's the Amazon show. And then we
it's
get
a weird Amazon show because it's almost negative.
Yeah.
But, like, still.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah.
And then we get to Olive Garden. Oh my god.
Olive Garden is plot relevant to this movie.
Olive Garden is plot, not just relevant, but, like, integral.
It's part of the hero's journey.
It is. It gets brought up 3 separate times, each time more obvious. And it's unbelievable. Like, it just engendered in me such an odd emotion. Hold on, what are you doing?
I'm looking up if it's actually. Did you see me misspell Sonic like 5 times?
Yeah.
If it actually was.
Why Sonic?
If it just did that for the meme, or if it actually was sponsored by Olive Garden. Sorry, one sec while we look at this.
Hold on. Dude.
It's not gonna tell us.
All right.
No, I think it was sponsored.
Okay. So,
okay.
Here's the thing. That was the best form of sponsored content I've ever seen, because it's the only time I genuinely want to go and consume a good or service based on its appearance in media. And it's not because they espouse that it's good, but because they keep talking about it and, like, it keeps getting more and more unsustainable. That I really I'm like, well, I want to go to Olive Garden now.
For me, the biggest instance of advertising absolutely working on me was unrelated to Sonic. It was Gabriel Gundaker's Sprite.com video.
What?
Adam and I went to Sprite.com, and we were on Sprite.com for like half an hour.
Really?
And then we were like, where can we get all 6 flavors of Sprite near me? And we were like using their locator. And we're like, how can we drive over there? And we're like, oh my god, advertising. Yeah, it was that is unrelated. Oh, do you want to talk about Sprite.com?
Adam's here.
Sprite.com.
Want a Sprite cranberry? That's one of the other times that advertising has worked out. Well, I mean, I liked Sprite cranberry before I knew about that advertisement.
What is that? What is that ad from?
I think it's LeBron James,
Oh,
where he's
yes, okay.
like he's animating. He's just like, want a Sprite cranberry, and it's delivered like he's a shy third grader in a play. But it's so mimetic that it has me hooked. What else talking about the Sonic movie?
Go see it if you haven't seen it. I don't know what else I have to say. It was just like such a fun time. The whole like energy of the animation is wonderful. The acting is passable. It's all good.
Jim Carrey fucking
Jim Carrey is fantastic.
I don't think I've ever seen Jim Carrey do a bad job in any role, and he just knocked it out of the park with being a fucking crazy man.
Yeah, I think I don't know how much there's else to say about it. I am like genuinely confused as to why so many people didn't like this movie.
It's very odd. I think it's a dislike that's different from other critics versus audience things. So like Godzilla, the most recent two were both kind of critically not flops, but they were just panned. They're like, it's but like everyone's like, fuck yeah, Godzilla, like, and the most recent one, I think it's Godzilla King of the Monsters. They're like, it's excellent, it's just fight scenes between big kaijus, like that's what I paid to see. And all of the critics are like, there's not much plot holding together these big fight scenes, and I'm like, gee,
maybe there's a problem with that kind of criticism.
I will say with that kind of, like,
or maybe it just doesn't like reflect in some sense I don't know. I was going to say maybe it doesn't reflect the quality of the movie, but I think people know what kind of takes they're going to get when they look at critical ones. So maybe it's all contextualized in a way that is like,
yeah, I think
that is transparent.
I think critics should be like, I don't want to say more transparent, but like obviously say like, hey, critically speaking, I think this movie has flaws, but like, you're not going to see this movie for like these reasons. Like if oh god, what's a real Crash? Terrible. It won the Oscars because it was Oscar bait. But like if you had like reviews for that saying it was good and the audience score saying it was bad, like that's because Oscar bait exists. Meanwhile, the flop, if you have the critics saying The Room is bad, which they did, an audience saying that The Room is good, which I think the more apt thing is The Room is enjoyable. I think that's a big difference. Is critics are here to discern if a movie is good.
Yeah.
Audiences are here to discern if a movie is enjoyable.
Yeah, which is that's kind of hypocritical for me to say as someone who's always a big proponent of art is from two different directions. Like the people putting the work into it and the people getting the
enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, and so like you can have like a movie that is legitimately bad be
art
good. Yeah, well, it's all art, I think.
Oh, okay,
but
fair enough.
Like well received and enjoyable, and have it be like a good movie from that standpoint, but a bad movie from the standpoint of the craft of it, quote unquote, which is of course really difficult to objectively judge if that's even a thing we want to try and do. But like, I guess it is important to admit that the audience enjoyment is not the only factor that should go into assessing whether a movie is good. However, it is the only factor that should go into assessing whether a movie is enjoyable for the audience.
Yeah, like whether or not you should see a movie
is not necessarily.
It's more based on if it's enjoyable. I think if it's good has like a thing in there. But
it's
like
a little more of a nuanced kind of rule in there.
I also think there's some good shit with like I think this will probably be a tangent that we'll have to fulfill on another episode, but what is your opinion on like Oscar bait-esque things?
I tend to enjoy them from my own perspective.
Okay.
Like coincidentally,
that's fair.
So I don't know if I can objectively
That's fair.
I
Well,
also haven't
because
thought about it very much.
I know I enjoyed La La Land, and I know I enjoyed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But like, I also think that I was just like, oh man, these look really cool, and even going into my mind being like, these were made to be more prestigious. I don't think that affected how.
Yeah, because like even if you do explicitly make something in order for it to be seen as this timeless, well-received classic thing, or to win all these awards and be recognized, like that doesn't mean it's like that's the whole story behind the creation of Welcome to the Black Parade as a song. Like My Chemical Romance went into that song going, all right, we're going to write an anthem, and it's going to be the single, and it's going to be the song we're best known for. And then they just did it, and it worked.
And it was
like,
good.
The fact that was their intention doesn't take away from the product itself.
I also think there's some really interesting stuff in that, like, there are some movies out there that have been really intentionally crafted, but also were very much about audience enjoyment. So, like, Kingsman, very, like, a lot of stuff goes into, especially the first one. Like, the fight choreography in that is, like, very particular. But, also, enjoyable as shit. Knives Out, incredibly crafted to create an atmosphere, but also just fun to go with.
I think that we're getting to an interesting, like, place describing art here, because I think that creating a world for Dungeons and Dragons or other role-playing games is like a very, like, interesting instance of and maybe even like a what's the word I'm looking for, and like an exemplary instance of when you want to create a world that is very deliberately artfully crafted so that art is appealing to people, because they're also the people who are creating the art, your players.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think role-playing games have a really interesting role in all of that, because they kind of are that boundary condition that combines those two aspects, where I'm just rambling at this point, but where the like very like artsy, like you're making a point, blah blah blah, but that point is how do we have fun enjoying things, or heck, maybe video games in general. No, because there are like walking simulators, I know sometimes are more for the creation of the product and the art rather than the appeal to the audience.
Well, I also think that walking simulators and stuff like that are about creating like a I won't say a moral message, but like a values judge. So like Life is Strange, I think people could argue whether or not they enjoyed it, but I think it succeeded in asking questions. Whether or not people enjoyed those questions being asked or the way they were done, I think is a bigger question.
Okay, that's fair. I have so many thoughts about that, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah, have you played Life is Strange?
I've played bits and pieces of it, but I've also experienced a lot of essays, both video and...
okay. You've probably got it
written.
Pretty good idea about it.
I don't know. There's also shit like Mario. I'm sorry. I was trying to think of a game. Well, like Mario is made to sell Mario games.
I see where you're going.
So like a big contrast would be like Mario versus Celeste, where theoretically Celeste is made to sell Celeste games, but there is like a plot and it says stuff, whereas Mario. And this isn't to its detriment or anything. It's just yippee yahoo, waha.
You're right. I mean, I'm sure that there is like some cultural context and implications that we're overlooking.
Oh yeah,
but like I think to first order.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think we've said our pieces.
Yeah, I think the whole point is go out and see Sonic. It's a good use of your time.
Yeah, it's worth the price of admission.
I have a haiku.
Oh, shit. I was hoping you had forgotten.
No, and I'm not counting Adam whispering... Wait, what did he whisper?
Sprite.com
as a collaboration.
Yeah, I'm also not going to count Peanut Gallery interactions.
All right, here we go.
All right, fuck me up.
I was in Sadler, hallucinating Skiffy, and girls at drum sets.
Okay. And once again, is the goal of this that I write a haiku that interprets your dream, or just okay?
Well, you're thinking of it. This was the first haiku I've written that actually, like, I felt a sense of rhythm in. Like, I was like, oh my god, there's I can understand why why the limitations are that define this genre exist.
So
to some extent,
I'm doing a new thing. I'm typing up my haikus.
Okay, and so I have to stall while you do it.
Well, not quite that, but also like so that you don't get an idea of where it's going.
Okay, but I will stall. I think it's fun. I'm going to bring this real close to my mouth and talk right into it. This is ASMR moment with Finn.
All right.
I'm going to just repeat it again. I was in Sadler, hallucinating Skiffy and girls at drum sets. I was in Sadler, hallucinating Skiffy and girls at drum sets. I was in Sadler. By the way, if you don't know, Sadler is our campus center. Not to be confused with Campus Center, a building off campus. Hallucinating Skiffy and girls at drum sets. I was in Sadler, hallucinating Skiffy.
I didn't hear the at, so I thought you whispered into the mic, I was Sadler, and it, like, really fucked me
The
up.
reveal. And girls at drum sets. God, this bad content.
I have it.
You have it?
Yeah.
Free us from the ASMR.
Went to sleep hungry, looking forward to some clubs, and wanting to jam. I can't believe that I did that first try.
Yeah, that works.
And it also might be true.
Yeah. It wasn't Sadler the dining hall. It was Sadler the...
No.
We were in, like, Tidewater.
Okay.
But that could also... I could have also gone to sleep hungry.
I honestly think that going to sleep hungry is, like, the natural thing to do. Because, like, if you're going to sleep on a full stomach, like, you have weird dreams.
Yeah. And just to be clear, the dream was that I was in Sadler, and in the dream I was hallucinating Skiffy.
Okay.
And the girls at the drum sets. And then, like, I stopped hallucinating all the time. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? And I go out and I'm like, I need to go to the doctor. And then I woke up.
God, I thought it was just like a nice trippy thing, but no, it's like I have serious health problems.
There were like we were all in. There were so many people at Skiffy, and we were all in Tidewater. And I kept on being like, "Why are we here? We like this is not where we meet. We don't have the room reserved. Like, guys, we got to get to Blair 229 Mondays at 9 p.m. Come to Skiffy."
This is a threat.
But like every time I tried to talk, like we had a mic, there were so many people there. Like these little girls on drum sets just kept on. It feels like some sort of metaphor. What does this mean? Well, I guess you just told me what it means.
Well, if you had given me all of that information, I could have given you a better haiku.
But we have to limit the quality. They're not ready.
They're not ready for
interpretation.
You have to give it to me in a limerick next time.
All right, this is sonnet dream interpretation.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, thanks for listening.
What are our shout-outs? Review on...
shout-outs. Shout out to Simple Flips.
Yeah. Simple Flips, please sponsor us, Dad. All right. Review... Leave us a review or rating on iTunes. God, I hate it. Finn is showing me the redesigned Sonic versus the new one, and I forgot how bad it looked. Ugh, stop. God.
This is all just to make it so Joe can't do the read.
r/Fools in Fiction. Please! Finn has zoomed in on Sonic, on old Sonic,
all right,
and it's awful.
I'll offer you.
foolsinfiction@gmail.com. Send us spam email. If you want to collab with us, get in touch with us. We are still legally, well, not legally, but we're still, like, out of the goodness of our hearts, uploading William and Mary podcasting stuff.
Mary.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying William and Mary, but now there is no William.
It's even easier to mumble it now, because before it was William and Mary, now it's Mary.
Mary. So yeah, Mary and Mary Podcasting Club. I apologize to Finn, save me.
Spreaker.com/ I'm going to enunciate that.
ASMR, Finn chokes to death.
Spreaker.com/user/PNWM.
Shouldn't it be PNMM now that it's Mary and Mary?
We gained the skills to upload podcasts and to control the entirety of the college, but we cannot code in HTML.
That's true. So like all of our emails are still like at WM because we haven't gotten the tech department to change it.
Yep.
Okay. I think that's all of our things.
I think so.
All right.
Goodbye.
Please, for the love of God, turn the podcast off.